So we're working our way through the sutras. We are in Sutra 253. And it's following on from the previous sutra that told us that pranayama removes the veil, the covering over our inner light. So if we practice the breath, we can start to see our inner light. And this sutra says, after that, the mind becomes fit for concentration. So when we start to see our true nature, our true light, our mind becomes fit for concentration. Which, in my experience, thinking about it this morning as I was preparing, I mean, that's been my experience. When I have been able to see, well, I'll just call it basic goodness. Well, at least that's my belief system. Like, basic goodness is part of who we are, part of who everybody is, part of the nature of reality. Then some of the noise of critiquing, judging, wondering if I'm being critiqued, wondering if I'm being judged, like all the voices in my head have gotten less loud. That's not to say that I don't have those concerns or have those thoughts, but they're not as present as they were 10 or 15 years ago before I started these practices. And in my experience, when I'm less worried about what people think about me, or I'm less busy talking about other people, there's more space for everything else, including concentration. And the yoga path tells us that dharana, concentration, is really the first mindfulness practice. So we've talked about the yamas and the niyamas and the physical practice, asana, and the breath practice, and drawing our senses inward. And all of those things help us to be able to focus our attention, which is really the fundamental practice of mindfulness. So just paying attention, bringing an awareness to when we're distracted by our thoughts, and then coming back to an anchor in the present moment without judgment. So we're going to do the simple but not easy practice of mindfulness today. Simple, not complicated, but maybe not easy, in that it takes some practice. So I'll guide us, and we'll begin. So wherever you are, create a firm foundation for your practice. The practice of pratyahara, where we withdraw from our senses, is easier if we close our eyes. You can also lower your gaze if eyes closed is not your preference. Start to bring your attention to an inner focus. So attention to something like your breath, or a sensation in your body. Something right here. within you. When I begin this practice, my attention is tethered pretty tightly to my anchor. As I begin, there's sort of a very focused creation of attention. And as my mind starts to bind to the anchor, it softens naturally. When something distracts you and your awareness is aware of it, it's an opportunity to strengthen your concentration. Try less, allow more. your mind is particularly busy, half smile, and just allow that. If your body is tense, soften. If your mind is tense, soften. bigger, fuller breath. Another one, just clearing, coming back into your body more fully. And open your eyes when you're ready. Insights? Comments? Paula, yes, please.
It's a question, not a comment. It's like, what does it take so you don't have like a million thoughts when you're trying to meditate? Is it just people they reach a place where all their life issues have been resolved and their mental and emotional to-do lists have been taken care? I mean, what happens? What do these people do to get? I mean, is it just you just keep doing it and then it's like just someday it happens?
No. I mean, unless you live in a cave. But we
No,
don't live in
no,
a cave.
no.
I'll tell you my experience because I don't know what other people do. Well, just and my experience I see now reflected in the Yoga Sutras. So if we think of the 8 limbs of yoga, the first 2 limbs are the yamas and the niyamas. And they're like, don't steal, don't lie, don't covet, beware of jealousy, all of those things. Those create disturbance, right? So if I tell a lie, then there's a lot of mind stuff around how do I make sure I don't get caught. If I steal something, there's a lot of mind stuff about not getting caught, about, guilt or shame. Like there's just a lot of mind stuff around things when we're not following those basic ethical and moral principles. When my body's not healthy, there's mind stuff about that, right? So asana practice is one of my tools for trying to keep my body healthy. When my hip hurts from not stretching, my mind goes into that. When I feel better because I've got a good balanced physical practice, there's less chitta-vritti about that. Right? When we start to do things like pranayama and pratyahara and get more focused on what's happening inside than what's happening outside, we can focus our attention more on that internal world than the outer world. But it's a constant practice. I mean, the reason in my mind that the dharana is like the 6th limb and that there's only 6 of us on this, 8 of us on this thing is like, it's a lot of work along the path to get to a place where we can be less loud. And it's a day-to-day thing too, right? I mean, I don't know about you, Paula, but when I'm on my mat less, when I'm not feeling well, when I'm not taking care of myself and following the rest of my practices, the voices are louder, right? I'm more grouchy, and that creates lots of chitta-vritti in my life because then there's a reaction to my grouchiness that I have to deal with. I'm less grounded, so I'm more reactive to their grouchiness. So it's all of the things that for me have helped create space, even if it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To just put the attention on what's actually real and not all the things that the world is telling us we should be thinking about.
It's just the randomness of thoughts, like should I paint I mean, one of the thoughts was, should I paint my bathroom cabinets? I mean, it's just I think it's just bizarre.
Mm-hmm. You're not alone.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not alone. Robert?
So, from what I've read and what I've seen, the mind always creates thoughts. It's what it's made to do. So we can't really like turn them off. It's more becoming aware that we're thinking about painting our cabinets instead of whatever we're supposed to be kind of concentrating on. I don't think it's a where the mind ever stops doing that to us. It's just becoming aware and going, okay, the mind's talking to us again. We don't need to pay much attention to that right now because now we're driving instead of.
Yeah, well said. Marcia? Here, I'll ask you to unmute.
So,
And then
Paula, something that I learned in yoga teacher training, I don't know if it helps, but my mind starts wandering. Your mind can only do one thing at once. So just then go back to your breath. I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. And you may have to do that 100 times, when those thoughts come in. But I just remember the mind can only do one thing at once. So I don't know if that helps, but that helps me. Back to the breath.
Susie?
It's interesting, Paula, that you said this because something that went through my mind was why I keep doing this but I'm not getting anything. And I'm like, well, part of the reason I'm doing this is to release this idea that I need to be getting something out of everything I do. Maybe the getting something is just actually being right here. And maybe the challenge can be releasing that idea of doing to get.
Ah. This is it. This is it.
Thank you for all your insights.
All right. Well, I enjoy this a lot. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.